Thriving in sleep.
Health this noon reports of a new superbug resistant to all known antibiotics. The bacteria is called Staphylococcus aureus, a nasty bug responsible for most hospital infections. Until now, doctors were able to treat it with the heavy-duty antibiotic vancomycin, but recently a Japanese baby developed a strain resistant to vancomycin, setting off alarm bells at the Centers for Disease Control. In other health news, if your child is acting strange during the day, the reason may be what's going on at night. News 4 Health Editor Dr. Deanna Lights explains.
He was having a lot of periods where he was snoring a lot at nighttime, and he was like unrestful sleep. And we had, he seemed like he would stop breathing sometimes, so we had taken him to the doctor after that to just check him out.
The doctors found that P.O. Sorali's 6-year-old son Matthew had obstructive sleep apnea syndrome, a blockage of the upper airway in the back of your mouth or throat. Allergies or large adenoids or tonsils can be the cause.
The air does not get through the nose or the mouth because of the blockage, but you're still you're trying to breathe with your chest and your stomach.
When this happens, you don't get a deep and restful sleep. That can lead to problems during the day.
In children, that can lead to hyperactivity, attention problems, difficulties in school.
There are some simple things you can do to help your child avoid sleep apnea. First of all, watch the position that your child sleeps in. Try to make sure that your child doesn't sleep on his or her back.
Take a couple of tennis balls, put it in a sock, and attach the sock in a safely manner so that the kids cannot hurt themselves in the back of the pajamas, so that the kid cannot sleep on his back.
Use hypoallergenic plastic covers for your child's mattress and pillows. Try to avoid giving your child any dairy products before going to bed to help cut down on upper airway congestion. And don't allow smoking in your home.
Dr. Deanna Lights, News 4, South Florida.
Many children also get relief from nasal sprays or by having their tonsils or adenoids removed. To find out more, you can call the Sleep Disorder Center at Miami Children's Hospital. That number, area code 305-662-8341. Up next on News 4 at noon, the South Florida skies were rumbling yesterday. Is there more in store for today? Meteorologist Bob Sober has a forecast. And if you're planning to head out on the turnpike when a hurricane comes, don't. We'll tell you why next on News 4 at noon.
The problem? Get-rich-quick schemes. People getting cheated. The solution? News 4 problem solver John Dutzman busted these bizarre businesses. And now Florida's Attorney General is on the case. Now that's news that works for you.
You have no idea how much ribbing I take just because I can't sail. Well, now I can. Or how pitiful I look playing ping pong. Oh, aha, surprised you, didn't I? And the abuse I've taken at our club health. Big change now, right?
And that's what Century Village is all about.
So come out and see for yourself. Then you'll be changing your address to Century Village at Pembroke Pines, Florida. It could change your life.
Patty cake, isn't it? Watch, patty cake. Roll it. Patty. Pay attention.
Hey kids, who wants some Edie's cookie dough ice cream?
Edie's cookie dough, double churned with real cookie dough. What could be better?
The Shaws are in room 2.
Oh, really? Aren't they on their honeymoon?
Well, they were when they contracted a rash, but their health plan covered them down there. But you're not going to believe what happened next.
Are they okay?
Yeah, they're fine.
The Humana Gold Plus plan is for everyone eligible for Medicare. It provides great benefits like unlimited doctor visits, no co-payments for prescriptions or home care visits, worldwide emergency care when traveling, and no plan premium. No matter where you go or what you do, you're free to enjoy life when you have the Humana Gold Plus plan.
Well, if they're fine, why are they here?
Well, they brought you a little present.
For more about the benefits of the Humana Gold Plus plan, read our free brochure, Getting More Out of Medicare. To get yours, call 1-800-336-6783.
Boy, we had some excitement.
Did we ever? Lots of activity the last couple of days, and it looks like today we're going to see more development in the Everglades and over to the west side of the state.
But not like we saw
I don't think
yesterday.
it's going to be like yesterday. It's a little bit cooler too, surprisingly. Here's a look at the Miccosukee Tribe Cam. Now you can see some fairly dark clouds out there, but right now nothing showing up on radar. And the same way with the Dade County line cam that we've got up there on our tower, looking out over the Dade County area to the southwest. Just some dark clouds. 83 degrees in Miami now. Fort Lauderdale's 84. 60% relative humidity. Winds east at 15, gusting to 21 miles per hour, and just 0.02 of an inch of rain since midnight. Looking on pinpoint Doppler, really the heaviest rainfall that we spot is over the Keys, really from Key Largo right down to near Marathon, and then again down around Key West. But the heaviest stuff obviously is right around the upper to middle Keys, and there are some thunderstorms mixed in there, so be careful if you're heading down the overseas highway. We put this in motion for you. Pinpoint Doppler showing you a few showers in Dade and Broward earlier today, but that stuff. Now here's what I want to really show you. This little circulation here looks suspicious, doesn't it? Counterclockwise winds, low pressure. You know, the Hurricane Center is taking a close look at that too. Not that this will be anything at all, but you know, we watch that kind of circulation this time of year. In the northern part of the state, because of the cold front, they've got some strong thunderstorms in the panhandle, and this is the wide view. You can see here's the line of the cold front going right on up and wrapping around into Minnesota, but the heaviest thunderstorms right over the southeast from Louisiana over into Alabama and part of Georgia and on up into eastern parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. 73 right now in Dallas, 70 in Little Rock, 55 Atlanta, 73 in New Orleans. Up in the northeast, the northern extent of that same frontal system wrapping up into the eastern Great Lakes, but most of the northeast is very pleasant. It's 68 in New York, 65 in Washington, 54 in Detroit, 58 in Chicago right now, also 58 in Louisville. Farther to the west, hit and miss showers all along the Rockies and back out into the northwest. No big deal there. The southwest, plenty hot. 82 right now in Phoenix, going to go up to over 100. 60 degrees right now in Seattle and a 54 at Denver. So most of the rainfall right along the Appalachians down into the Gulf Coast and then through the Rockies up to the northwest. Here's a look at our forecast. Mostly cloudy to the rest of today with mainly inland storms developing and likely moving west. 86 degrees for our high. For boaters and swimmers. Boaters, use caution if you have a small craft, and rip current advisory continues for you swimmers with northeast to east winds 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 7 feet, bay waters choppy. For tonight, we'll see a few clouds and some showers around, low 76, and for the weekend, mainly some rain developing in the west, 88 degrees, and Saturday and Sunday there'll be storms around, although Sunday looks a lot better than Saturday.
We're getting into that daily pattern of
Almost.
showers.
We're just about there.
Just about. Thanks,
Yeah.
Bob.
Okay.
Well, what do you plan to do if a hurricane heads towards South Florida? Would you head up the turnpike to Orlando? If that's your instinct, think again. News 4's Campbell Marshall explains why in the second part of our special series, Hurricane 97, News That Works for You.
It is a tragedy waiting to happen. A hurricane watch and then a warning is posted. An evacuation is ordered and thousands of South Floridians wait until the last minute to decide what to do. When Hurricane Erin bore down, these tourists thought heading north was the answer.
We were down at Fort Lauderdale. We were going to do some fishing, and they told us to get out of there. It was going to be dangerous, so we drove up here to be safe. And we drove right into it.
An even more dangerous situation with the massive traffic jam before Hurricane Opal hit in 1994.
We saw that during Hurricane Opal up in the Panhandle. The people were stuck on the road. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but there's a great deal of potential there for a lot of loss of life.
That potential exists here in South Florida as well. There are 18 lanes of traffic that run north out of Broward. Those 18 lanes narrow to just 8 lanes, including the turnpike and I-95 in Palm Beach County. 8 lanes.
The roads narrow up here into the interstate, the turnpike, another north-south road that will probably close quite early, which would be US 1 or alternate 818. So there are not a lot of options, and the bottleneck happens here.
Here's one scenario. You're on the turnpike northbound, and after you enter Palm Beach County, the road narrows to 2 lanes. You are on the 10-mile stretch between the Okeechobee Boulevard exit at West Palm Beach and the exit at PGA Boulevard. An accident happens, and traffic is stuck. Now let's do the math. You figure an average of about 20 feet per car, bumper to bumper, with 5 feet left over. So per mile, that's 264 cars. There's 2 lanes of traffic, so double that to 528 cars per mile. Multiply that by the 10 miles between exits, you have 5,280 cars. Let's assume 3 people per car. You have nearly 16,000 people stranded with no way to get off the road, and if they could, where would they go? And that's another problem. Palm Beach has a shortage of shelter space. Only 23 shelters in all. Only 2 of them designated as gridlock shelters.
Well, for our scenario, Palm Beach County Emergency Management has no plan. They have 250,000 Palm Beach County residents evacuating, looking for safe shelter. Add to that the folks from Monroe, Dade, and Broward counties heading north, and what you have is potentially thousands of people trapped in their cars on the turnpike with no place to go, and they have no plan. So News 4 went to work for you to try to find a solution, and we found it in the Keys.
The Florida Keys have one of the biggest hurricane problems in the United States. If a Category 3 hurricane takes aim at the Keys, everyone is required to evacuate. Upwards of 80,000 people, all trying to get out using just one road. But in the Keys, they have a plan.
One of our big issues is to be sure that we don't trap anybody on this road segments because of the low topography and the vulnerability of the vehicles along this highway.
After nearly 2 decades of working on the problem, Billy Wagner feels confident he's come up with the best solution possible.
We phase the evacuation out starting in Key West, proceeding up the Keys, and we put roadblocks in, law enforcement does.
In other words, they close the road. Wagner will not allow anyone to be trapped on the highway when the hurricane arrives.
And we direct these people to designated refuges of last resort.
By keeping people off the roads and getting them to a safe place, the nightmare possibility of having thousands of people trapped in their cars during a hurricane can be prevented.
News 4 checked with the state of Florida Emergency Management. And they say they do have a plan to close the roads, but only after a traffic jam occurs, and that they'll use wreckers to help clear the way. But the question remains, will they be able to clear those roads in time? And with so few shelters, where will you go? The key solution must be considered. Close the roads early so that when a hurricane hits, those roads will be clear. That solution could very well save thousands of lives. Cambrell Marshall, News 4, South Florida.
Another big question South Florida homeowners face is, should you use shutters or plywood when protecting your home during a storm? Meteorologist Brian Norcross will look at that issue tonight on News 4 at 5:30. And of course, you can learn more life-saving tips in our special Hurricane 97 News That Works for You. That's tonight at 8 o'clock right here on Channel 4. And straight ahead on News 4 at noon, have you ever told a little white lie? From kids to adults, 48 hours puts honesty to the test, and we've got a preview. And here are the midday numbers on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow Jones is down more than 33 points. NASDAQ also down 3/4 of a point, and the American Exchange is the only one up, a little more than a point. We'll be right back.
News 4 is working to prepare you for Hurricane Season 97. I'm Brian Norcross. We'll answer your questions about keeping you and your family safe and informed. Watch Hurricane 97, News That Works for You, tonight at 5:30 on News 4.
If you can't watch News 4 this morning but still want to hear all the news, be sure to tune in Ileana Varela, Bill Neal, and Ron Hersey. Weekday mornings on Magic 102.7.